News, Ibadan.
Commitment to facilitate a global investment initiative to boost the economy. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, made the commitment in a statement made available to media men in Abuja. The minister said her ministry and other relevant stakeholders were ready to ensure successful engagement of the global investment strategic groups. Dr. Oduwole said the efforts would bring a transformational impact on Nigeria's investment landscape, building trust and providing game-changing economic opportunities. Meanwhile, the National Insurance Commission has revealed that the insurance industry recorded a total of 3.8 billion naira in assets during the third quarter of 2024, reflecting steady growth in the sector. NAICOM, in a circular posted on its website earlier today, said the figure represented an expansion of 5.1% compared to the corresponding period when it reported 2.8 billion as the industry size. It said the statistics of the financial position of the market recorded a total of 2.3 billion naira in assets as attributable to non-life business, while the life business accounted for 1.5 billion naira. The Commission said the industry showed resilience amid macroeconomic challenges, sustaining its growth trajectory at 60.9% year-on-year and also sustained 44.3% on a quarter-on-quarter basis to close at about 1.17 billion naira in gross premium. On settlement of claims, NAICOM said the improvements in claims management of the industry had served as a driver for expansion in gross claims reported in Q3. According to the Commission, the claims reached 564 billion naira, representing 48.1% of the total premiums generated during the period. And as the federal government is expected to kick off its tax reforms aimed at simplifying Nigeria's tax system at the end of the first quarter as projected, the reforms are intended to centralize and simplify tax collection, including a reduction of more than 60 separate taxes and levies to 6. Managing Director, Kubiku Vetex, Mr. Abdullah Hashim, who was a guest on our show, commended this development by government.
I think it's a brilliant concept that Mr. President has brought this kind of thing within a particular time. And I appreciate him of his leadership because he allowed a climate of participation, which is a very good procedure, especially when Harvard also mentioned that when you have a policy, and there is no problem of inviting foreign policy, but contextualization is a key. Yes, what does contextualization mean now? You have to bring everything that has to do with the atmosphere of the implementing environment of that bill, in terms of culture, in terms of political history, in terms of economy, in terms of so many factors. So now he created a participatory environment, which is a good thing, which he is creating a way of contextualizing this bill, which is the best reform ever globally. So, and Mr. President's inclusivity in leadership is a well-recommended one, not because of anything, but because Mr. President valued diverse perspective of public. And these are the kind of things we need in leadership. So when policies are brought to Nigeria and are copied shamelessly, thereby you will see what we call implementation gap. This implementation gap, it will create a scenario whereby people will have difficulty in implementation of that particular policy. But when it is contextualized within the reality of local content, within the reality of local realities, so this is where you will see a very laudable and effective governance. And Mr. President,
well, outside our shores, U.S. stock features and Asian shares outside China slumped today as investors weigh the implication of China's startup DeepSeek launch of a free open-source artificial intelligence model to rival OpenAI's ChatGPT. U.S. Nasdaq Composite futures tumbled 2.3% and S&P 500 futures sank 1.3%. Japan's Nikkei dropped 0.9%, reversing initial advance. New Zealand's equities benchmark slipped 0.2%, and Singapore's Straits Times Index is 0.1%. Hong Kong Hang Seng rallied 1%, mainland blue chip added 0.1%, even after data showed a surprise contraction in manufacturing. This month's pan-European stock 50 futures dropped 0.9%. China's manufacturing activity contracted in January, its weakest since August, keeping alive calls for stimulus in the world's second-largest economy. Data shows that the Purchasing Managers Index contracted to 49.1 in January from 50.1 in December, below the 50 mark, separating growth from contraction and missing a median forecast of 50.1. The non-manufacturing PMI, which includes services and construction, slowed to 50.2 from 52.2 in December. Also, profits at China's industrial firms fell for the third straight year in 2024, underlining the urgency for policymakers to step up support for an economy facing tariff threats from the new Trump's administration. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics reveals that industrial profit grew 11% in December from the same month last year, following a 7.3% drop in November, while earnings at industrial firms dropped 3.3%, extending a 4.7% decline in January to November period, compared with 2.3% decline in 2023. The world's biggest music label, Universal Music Group, and Swedish streaming giant Spotify have reached a new multi-year agreement for record music and music publishing. The publishing agreement established a direct license between Spotify and UMG across Spotify's current product portfolio in the US and several other countries. Artists, songwriters, and consumers will benefit from the new and evolving offers, new paid subscriber styles, bundling of music and non-music content, and a richer audio and visual content catalog. The partnership will ensure constant innovation, making music subscriptions even more attractive to a worldwide audience. Well, crude oil prices slipped today after U.S. President Donald Trump called on OPEC to reduce prices following the announcement of wide-ranging measures to boost U.S. oil and gas output in the first week in office. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell to sell at $74.44 per barrel, with a downward review of 0.29%. Brent also experienced a downward price margin of 0.22% to sell at $78.33 per barrel. Bonnie Light sells for $78.62 with a decline of 2.84%. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $80.77 per barrel with a decline of 0.16%.